Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chanda Ballabha Girivaranari Gopi Chanda Ballabha Girivaranari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaranari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanachami Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, we have a second mic on this. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Maybe volume is this. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad-bhagavatam, 9th Canto, chapter 24, text 56. The chapter is the last chapter of the 9th Canto, called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To chant the Sanskrit. Yada yada hi dharmasya Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Yada Yada Hidharmasha Chayo Ridisha Papmanaha Siddhatu Bhagavanisha Atmanam Srijate Hari Word for word synonyms. Yada, whenever. Yada, whenever. He, indeed. Dharmasha, are the principles of religion. Shayaha, deterioration. Vriddhi, increasing. Cha, and Papmanaha, of sinful activities. Tada, at that time. 2. Indeed, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishaha, the Supreme Controller. Atmanam, personally. Srijate, descends. Hari, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, appears by his own will. Repeat after me. Whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, appears by his own will. Srila purport. The principles by which an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends upon earth are explained in this verse. The same principles are also explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 7, by the Lord himself. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya yadatmanam shrajam yaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. In the present age, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inaugurate the Hare Krishna movement. At the present time, in Kali Yuga, people are extremely sinful and bad among them. They have no idea of spiritual life and are misusing the benefits of the human form of life, human form, to live like cats and dogs. Under these circumstances, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has inaugurated the Hare Krishna movement, which is not different from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one associates with this movement, he directly associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People should take advantage of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and thus gain relief from the problems created in the age of Kali. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri. So actually, Srila says, under these circumstances, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has inaugurated the Hare Krishna movement, which is non-different from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one associates with this movement, he directly associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Amazing. So this movement is actually an incarnation of Krishna, isn't it? This movement is non-different from Krishna, and anyone associates with this movement is associating with Krishna. We see this in so many ways, just like we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna's names. So Krishna's names are non-different from Krishna. We eat prasadam, honor prasadam, we say, which is non-different from Krishna. We're associated with Krishna in a very tasty way. And we smell the flowers or wear the flower garlands worn by Krishna. This is also Krishna. Krishna is everywhere in so many forms. And by our contact with Krishna in these different ways, we are associated with Krishna. So someone may demand, well, I'm, you know, you show me God. Make God, you appear before me, then I'll believe in you. Unfortunately, we're not so powerful that God will appear before us in his personal form if we're just demanding him to appear. But actually, Lord Krishna is very easily accessible because anything that's related to Krishna is not different from Krishna. I mean, that's the whole idea. That's why prasadam is prasadam. It's not just food. It's not just vegetarian food. It's food that has been offered to Krishna. Has become, as Srila Prabhupada gave it the term Krishnaized. Prasadam is Krishnaized. So by that contact with prasadam, by eating it, honoring it, not only by honoring it, by serving it to others, before cooking Krishna's offerings, all these things are directly associated with Krishna. We may not have that full realization at this point, but in reality, Krishna is anything related to this Krishna consciousness movement is not different from Krishna. And so Prabhupada is encouraging, as Lord Chaitanya did, that everyone should take part in this Krishna consciousness movement. And of course, this Krishna consciousness movement will be spread. It is being spread everywhere, every town and village in the world, and that will increase more and more and more as at least this period in Kali Yuga goes on. Another consideration is that just like just like we read about Krishna's pastimes, right? Krishna killing the demons or doing very many wonderful, extraordinary things that Lord Krishna does, when performing his pastimes. So we may think, oh well, that's in the spiritual world, or that's if you were with Krishna at that time when he appears on this planet performing his pastimes. That's for them. But what about me? But actually, this Krishna consciousness movement is also, if we have the right mood, this Krishna consciousness movement is also, because it's not different from Krishna. It's actually development path, spreading this Krishna consciousness movement is actually a great adventure. Just like sometimes there are difficulties that Krishna came, and he was in his Vrindavan Leela, and he would come, the demons would come, and he would fight with them, and he would defeat them. That is an adventure for those who were present at that time. But we also see it's adventurous that we were trying to spread this movement, and we never know how things are going to develop. We may go out and sell Srila Prabhupada's books. There may be difficulty, but then you come across someone who says, "Wow, this is just what I was looking for. This book has the answers to things that nobody else could answer these questions. I'm always looking for this, and you just gave it to me in a book. Nobody else had this knowledge." So, or sometimes there are difficulties and challenges within the movement. And then we had a period back in, well, Srila Prabhupada was present, still physically present. So we had a period when we were being accused, our movement was being accused of brainwashing people. Actually, Srila Prabhupada says, yes, we're brainwashing, we're washing their brains of all the dirty stuff, all the dirty Maya. But there it was a, these things actually went to court, and it was becoming a big issue at that time. But in the end, Srila Prabhupada says, just preach Krishna consciousness. They can say what they want to say, but the solution was you just directly preach Krishna consciousness. And then, of course, the end result was it became very obvious that the Hare Krishna movement is not brainwashing people, but we're simply giving this knowledge, and people are appreciating it. Most people are appreciating it. Like that. So, and of course, Srila Prabhupada was explaining in his purport, in the verse in the purport, of course, that the Krishna consciousness movement, Krishna appears. I mean, it means Lord Chaitanya appeared specifically at this time. Lord Chaitanya appeared to reestablish the religious principles. So this is what the Lord does. He doesn't just put the, some people think, okay, well, maybe there's a God out there somewhere, but the world's really messed up here, so God must be maybe just put things in motion and went to sleep or something. No, God actually is constantly coming and appearing and doing his part to reestablish religious principles. Kali Yuga is pretty degraded when you think in terms of what is actual religion. And people say that they're religious, but they're eating meat and illicit sex and so many things. And well, this is life, But of course, that all degrades us, degrades the society. So Krishna comes, or in this case, Lord Chaitanya came, and he gave the method by which we can become. Everyone can become Krishna conscious. At every age, there's some method that's given by the Lord. Every age, there's some method given by the Lord to the people in general can become Krishna conscious. People in general, something that which is practical for the people in general to become Krishna conscious, and these methods by which one may become Krishna conscious, these are brought by they're called Yuga avatars. There are many kinds of avatars. So one kind of avatar is called a Yuga avatar. Yuga avatar means something that comes specifically in that particular age to give the method, the process for that age for people to become Krishna conscious. So in the Satya Yuga, I don't remember who delivered the message right off, but Satya Yuga, the method was the yoga system, the Ashtanga yoga system, and that was practical for the people at that time. But the yoga system required great steadiness of mind. It required a very long duration of life. It required an atmosphere on the planet that was there's a peacefulness. There was many requirements, and people in general would could take up the path of yoga. Of course, in every age, also there's there are distractions. As Krishna says also, out of many thousands among men, hardly one endeavors for perfection, and of those who endeavor for perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So that perfection means, something transcendental, something spiritual. This is the perfection. So even in the yoga system, even in Satya Yuga, people perform the yoga system, but they sometimes got distracted. Many times they got distracted. Apparently, most of the time they got distracted. Because practicing yoga, they could do that, but a stronger yoga system meant that you started off with Ashtanga yoga means eight levels of progression. The final progression, the top progression, is Bhakti Yoga. So they would practice this yoga system, and which was practical for the people of that age. But sometimes they got distracted by the going off the path a little bit and developing the mystic powers, which you could do through that system. A little detour. You could develop mystic powers, and mystic powers means that you have so many material things that you can do in a very wonderful way. Make yourself very big, or make yourself very small, or learn how to control the minds of others, or property, where you could grab something from another place somewhere in the universe without actually leaving there. You make yourself so light you could float in the air, you could fly, you could create things. These are all this was there, and it was part of the path, or something you had the opportunity for, and so many people got distracted by that system. But anyway, the point is that the Lord appears in an age, and He gives the people in general what they can follow. In the Dwapara, in the Treta Yuga, the method was very big sacrifices. We have our little tiny fire sacrifices, this big, but they had huge fire sacrifices, and with the expert brahmanas who were so expert that they could take at the beginning of the sacrifice, they could take an animal, like a horse, an old horse or an old cow, and make it transform into a young animal. It was just a proof of their ability to do something. And those sacrifices, because these were in those ages, the kings were very powerful, so they engaged the people in general in doing, taking part in some way in these performance of these sacrifices. That way, everyone got the benefit. But of course, that was the Treta Yuga, and some people elevated themselves to the professional stage, went back to Godhead, and many got a little deviated and still went on the path looking for more some kind of material enjoyment, heavenly planets, and so on. But the method is there towards becoming Krishna conscious and going back to Godhead. And in the Dwapara Yuga, the method was deity worship. We have deity worship here too. It's very important. But in that age, it was something that the whole society was engaged in. Because if we were in Dwapara Yuga, and we were doing deity worship, the government would be sending. The government would be making sure that we had so much supply, because they would see that this is the process by which the whole society would become materially and spiritually benefited. So that was that age. At Kali Yuga, though, these previous methods are simply not possible. They're not practical. So in this age, of course, Lord Chaitanya gave the method that anyone can follow, even if we're so sinful. People in general are so sinful in this lifetime, in Kali Yuga. So Lord Chaitanya gave a method which was practical. It was practical for this age, and as simply chanting the names of the Lord. And Srinarottam Das Thakur sings in one of his songs. He uses the term Kevalananda Kanda. Kevalananda Kanda means that the process itself, the Lord Chaitanya gave, is joyful. Maybe in the Satya Yuga, sitting there under the hot sun, surrounded by a ring of fire during the summer, and trying to meditate on the Super Soul, that was probably not all that enjoyable. But they were at least trying for some higher goal. But of course, in this age, you ask someone to say, someone comes and says, "Oh, you want to become Krishna conscious? Okay, all you have to do is sit outside under the hot sun in the middle of the day during the hottest part of the year, and build big fires around you all around, and think about God." And then, of course, that's not going to happen in this age. So in this age, it's what Lord Chaitanya has given, what is practical and possible for everyone, because anyone can chant the names of God. Someone can't say the names of God, even if they repeat it, then they're in very difficult situation. But this was Lord Chaitanya's method to give everyone a chance to chant the names of the Lord, and because the Lord is not different from His name, that by chanting the Lord's names, even if our chanting is not perfect, then we start gradually becoming purified, right? We become more purified by this chanting. And what's special about the process in this age, compared to the previous ages, but in the previous ages, you had to do so many heavy austerities, and eventually you would come to the point where you would practice bhakti yoga, and you would go back to the spiritual world if you perfected it. In this age, but you'd give up all your other austerities. In this age, there's no changeover. There's no changeover. We practice the path of Krishna consciousness, which is enjoyable. Chanting Hare Krishna is enjoyable. Dressing the deities, seeing the deities, the beautiful forms of the Lord, is enjoyable. The association with devotees is enjoyable. So many things that we do are enjoyable and also purifying. And in the end, we'll become Krishna conscious. But when we become Krishna conscious, we don't give up. We don't give up association of devotees. We don't give up prasadam. We don't reject the deities and all these things. We can continue on doing what we're doing, but in a higher and higher state of consciousness. This is the special thing about this in this age, and the process all the way through is very pleasing. The Krishna consciousness movement is very pleasing. So Srila Prabhupada was saying here that this Krishna consciousness movement, the Sankirtan movement, is non-different from Krishna. So anyone who comes to the temple, anyone who hears the holy names, anyone who gets some prasadam, anyone who gets any of the spiritual benefits that come as a part of the Krishna consciousness movement, everyone is associated with Lord Krishna in that way. And by that association, gradually one becomes free from the desire for the sinful activities, and it develops um, uh, the taste, ultimately a pure taste for Lord's devotional service. Anyway, those are a couple of points about this verse purport. Are there any questions or comments? Verse is, whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, appears by his own will. The first line is the same as the Bhagavad Gita verse. Yada yada hidharmasha. The first line is exactly the same. Whenever and wherever there's a decline of religion, so the religion goes down, then the Lord appears, and he reestablishes the principle. And the only time that he appears, and he does not, well, actually he always reestablishes, but the only time he appears, and for the people in general, he does not really reestablish the principles of religion, is at the end of the age of Kali, because at that point, everyone except for a handful of devotees here and there, they're still waiting for Satyuga to go. Everyone is so sinful. There's no question of preaching or changing their lives. Actually, the Srimad-bhagavatam describes, I think in the 12th Canto, Srimad-bhagavatam describes, or gives the names at least, of so many dynasties that will appear later on in Kali Yuga that will be extremely degraded. We hear about, we're reading so many about these different personalities and their sons and grandsons and like that. We've been reading it to the last chapters. But at one point, everyone who's born, all these dynasties will simply become, they'll just simply be totally degraded.
And then the Kali Yuga, Kalki kills everybody. They go back to Godhead because they killed by the Lord. Although they're very simple.
Usually that's what happens. Yeah, and usually if someone is killed by the Lord, they don't just go back to the spiritual world and join in Krishna's pastimes like that. They go to they emerge in the Brahma Jyoti. Yeah.
But they got that version.
That's
impersonal.
Maybe that.
Yeah.
I want to look that up. I hadn't thought about that. But I know. But if he comes and he kills most of the people, except for those who are actually devotees. There are devotees. There will be some devotees around because somebody's got to be here to start the next, be there for the beginning of Satya Yuga, and then of course there's a big push for increasing the population again. So we even in the past. We read about this person had 100 sons. This person had 1,000 sons. You can't imagine these things. So this is the beginning of Satya Yuga, it will increase. And of course, the duration of life will increase from 25 years or something until after like 100,000 years, beginning of Satya Yuga. So, and then of course, by doing that, the Lord is reestablishing the principles of religion to get rid of those who are completely irreligious, who was probably most everyone by that time. And he increases, he reestablishes the principles of religion, and everything becomes very nice, especially in the beginning of Satyayuga. And then, of course, they have the method at that time by which they can become fully Krishna conscious and go back to the spiritual world if they want. Okay. Nothing else. So I guess we'll end for today. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.